We're at the Klipdale 2013 rally. This is the first proper rally of the season. It is run from the co-op and there are 7 stages. So for the first time this year, competitors will be doing a bit of open sections, unlike the other rallies up until now, where we had single venue events, lots of repeats, etc. One of the interesting facts of this event is that we have 2 stages back to back, no service, quite a distance away from the co-op, so you need to drive very carefully and not only use your foot but drive with your head, otherwise you're not going to make it back to the service. As you can see, also very wet. This rally normally run under dry conditions.
We do safety checks on the vehicles, and then we'll check all the lights and things that are working. We check if it's licensed and things like that. We'll check like roadworthy checks and things like that. And then also under bonnet we will look at like I said, fuel leaks, oil leaks, and everything is in place and that battery is secured. In the back we'll check if the spare wheel is secure, the jack and that, because those things can, if you are involved in something, they can fly around in the car and injure you. Check if the seats are secure, check the seat belts and fire extinguishers, and you've got your safety boards and your also your first aid kits and things like that.
Hi, Pilot Gatsamusa, team manager of the 7 Films LLJ Racing team. We're at the 7 Films LLJ Racing rally out in Klipdale, 4th round of the Western Cape Regional Championship. Very challenging event. The weather is not playing its part today, so I think it's going to be tricky for the crews. Very slippery out there, so yeah, I think it's going to be fun for them today.
We've never been able to practice in these kind of conditions. We've actually never been able to practice. So it's our 3rd regional rally. So yeah, we're just learning every time. So yeah, this is going to be a big learning curve today. We're just going to hopefully stay on the muddy road and stay out of the fields.
Woke up on race day, very wet, very slippery, very challenging because it's fast. First on the road, we have Mike Nathan and Derek Jacobs in the 4-wheel drive Mitsubishi. As you can see, extremely slippery, and we'll see on the slow motions how this car is battling to grip. Very, very slippery. You see the car is now white as opposed to the black that it was in before. Looking much better, and that's the last time you're going to see this arrow standing here, because not even the arrow survived on this rally. As mentioned earlier, this is the first proper rally with some decent long stages, different conditions, different road surfaces, and a lot of the stages not being run over and over again. Watch the Mitsubishi go through the section here, you'll see it looks like quite a controlled drive, but it really isn't. I mean, that car is scrabbling for grip every inch of the way there, and it's quite fast as well. Quite encouraging to see some spectators out in the weather, braving the weather to watch this rally. Next up we have Sean Jones. We actually gave Mike Nathan and Derek Jacobs a run for their money on the first 2 stages. Coming to grips with this car, he blew an engine on the previous rally, and it was a pity for him to actually go out of this event because he wasn't that far off the pace of the Mitsubishi. In one of the stages, I think he must have been going too quickly, the car couldn't handle it, and the shock absorbers pulled out of the body, and that was the end of his rally. A good run coming to a premature end. Here we have Paulus Franken and Henry Keane. They are doing nationals these days, but on the regional rallies they play around with the Skyline. They were the winners of the first round this year, and they seem to be having great fun in this motor car. It must be quite challenging for the driver because he swaps between a front and a rear wheel drive. On the nationals he's driving the latest 1600 Polo, so he must really get his head around this one. But as you can see also here, the car's fighting for grip every inch of the way. And being a rear-wheel drive car with a tail that's quite happy to hang out, he must have his hands full driving this motor car. They also had a very unlucky incident. They had a puncture, and when they fitted the spare wheel, they found out that they had the wrong wheel in the pool, so they had to withdraw and rejoin the rally under Super Rally rules. Young Keenan Sassman, also a bit of bad luck on this rally, but when he was going, he was doing quite well. Also had to rejoin under Super Rally rules. Also his first wet rally as well, and you can see here the road starting to break up and become even more slippery. But then again, all adding to the experience. I mean, you can see the mud flying there. Going quite neatly through these corners here, and also coming to grips with this car. And one wouldn't say that he hasn't been driving this car so shortly if you see the way he drives it. He is still young in the sport, and he's made quite a few leaps and bounds, having finished quite a few times on the podium since he's been driving this motor car. One of the young rising stars in the Western Cape, and hopefully we'll see him as a Western Province champion in the near future. Then we have the sponsor of the event, Lawrence van Rensburg and Jason Plumley in the LLJ, 7 Films LLJ Racing Ford Fiesta. Also doing national rallies these days. And yes, as Lawrence said at the beginning, every rally is a new experience. This is also their first wet event. And watching the slow-mo here, he's actually controlling the car quite nicely. For someone that has only rallied 3 events, one wouldn't say. But then again, this is also an awesome motor car. I like the color scheme on the motor car. We spoke about it on one of the earlier events. The hand marks was to do with these little ones that wanted to paint the car with their hands. So even the racing suits have the little handprints on the side. One would never say that they've done 3 events. I think having a wet rally for a change tested the competitors, because we have done quite a few dry rallies this season. So it was a whole new ball game for everybody. And I think some people were actually caught out due to lack of preparation. The diehards of the Western Cape, never far from a rally. Here we have the Sabre Paints Polo, Charles Strydom and Saki Bosman. Also unfortunate to go out in stage 1. Beautiful motor car, nice sounding, very quick, but they don't seem to be having much luck with the car lately. Finished 1 event so far this year, which was Ceres, but they failed to make the finish line on the rest of the rally so far. And we only have 1 rally left this season, so they can't make up any points. Looks as if they went through the tape somewhere, because I see the candy tape across the bonnet. Then we have Justin Hoskins, navigated by the old man Brian Hoskins in the City Golf. Also a very well prepared motor car. Young Justin also making big strides this year. Last year I think he drove the grays of his father's head, but this year he seems to be doing much better. Very quick, very neat, and on the pace these days. And yes, also his first wet event, so if you watch him here, it doesn't look as if he's never driven in the wet before, and he's coming to grips very nicely. We have to also thank the farmer of this farmyard. He's never ever said no to us. And here we have one of the accident guru motor cars, which is Piet Bakkers, yes, because Paul van Wyk unfortunately broke 100 meters into the first stage here. And once again you can see the rain coming down here. Paul van Wyk then became service crew on this event to ensure that Piet Bakkers and Craig Gray finished this event, which they did. Just watch that front wheel and see how it's churning up the road trying to fight for grip. Must be quite hard sore to break in the first 100 meters of the stage, and I believe they put a lot of effort into the car to get it to this rally, because they had fitted 2 gearboxes before they took the start line, and then the third one also broke. Just breaking himself a little bit there, but as you can see, conditions are changing, getting more and more slippery, and he drives over the farmer's palm tree as well. It looks almost as if he lost his way in the farmyard. Another 2 youngsters also coming to grips with rallying in their first season, 2 cousins, Darren van Vrienen and his cousin, in an ex-works car. This is the ex-Kubuzulu motor car, but driving extremely well. I had a bit of bad luck on the first event, broke the drive shaft, and since then he's never looked back. One would think with the slippery roads that we have here on this event, we'd find more of the cars taking out the arrowing and the bunting here, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It looks as if everybody's having a very controlled drive here. Just this section here, as we've known it for years, if it does get wet, it also gets very tricky, as you can see. Hence the reason the previous car riding the tree up. We have Paul Emmanuel and Robin Benjamin. Paul also starting to make strides these days, surprising a few people. Slow start in the beginning, getting to grips with the motor car, and he seems to be enjoying his rallying more these days. I think the Paul Simon song "Slip Sliding Away" would be very appropriate here in this farmyard. Here we have Julian Calvert, Anthony Connolly, also new to rallying this year. Spectators for almost 30 years and decided to buy a rally car. This is a ex-works prepared Volkswagen Golf. Coming to grips. I believe they had quite a few issues. The mister didn't work, and wipers didn't work. And under these conditions, that can be extremely challenging. Unfortunately, Winston Neethling didn't make the start line because they had engine issues from the last rally. And here we have Trevor Hodges with Clint Verrett finishing on the podium on this event. What Trevor's done this year is he's taken each a member of his service crew and given them a chance to navigate in his rally car, because all the years they were also always the backroom boys preparing the cars, keeping it together. So very kind of him to pay back his service crew, having been away from rallying for about 10 years, and to finish on the podium with one of his service crew in these conditions also speaks volume. As Trevor says the smart answer is always. You can see it on his windscreen sticker. Trevor's rallied this car for many seasons. Decided to stop rallying when the budget was a bit tight, went circuit racing. I think that frustrated him more, and he decided he was coming back to rallying after a massive accident at Killarney, and he seems to be flourishing once again, riding with the best at the top. Like I said, finishing third on this event after having been away for 10 years. Yeah, we also have two newcomers. First time they are rallying this year. They used to do drag racing, converted their drag car into a rally car, and they seem to be enjoying it. Whilst the car is not quite set up for proper gravel rallying, and as you can see, not turning in properly, they are really enjoying themselves. As these two will show you that a cautious approach is sometimes a good approach, especially with the conditions that we have, because the old Finnish saying goes, to finish first, you must finish. And as you can see, consistency has paid off this whole season, because they're one of the few cars that have finished every event this year. Here we have a driver turned navigator, Tian Rabe. Used to navigate on nationals before with Lau Marais. He used to be sitting in the left seat, and now he's sitting with the steering wheel in his hand. And it looks as if he's learned quite a few tricks here, because he wasn't a slouch on his very first event as a driver. I also know that he took out a couple of fences and also went over a few bushes in the process. But coming to grips with his car at the end of the day and finishing 6th overall. Could have been 4th. Navigator's watch played up and he got a early clocking penalty, which relegated him to 6th overall. Newcomers, all the way from Vredendal, in an ex-Works Toyota, Group N Toyota. First time they're rallying, times extremely competitive. As you can see, the ducks are running away from him. They also enjoyed the rally. They unfortunately had to withdraw due to a misfire and one of the coil packs backing up, but I can tell you we're going to see big things coming from this team. First time out in a rally car under these conditions and running the times that they were running was very impressive. And the rain kept coming. This used to be the Team Total Runix, which ran in the red and blue and yellow colors back in the day. Been through a few hands and it seems to have found a happy home again. They're actually doing quite well, considering that they were taught to rally on the morning of the event. So actually to see them this far is also very impressive. Here we are back at service, doing a bit of maintenance and repairs to the cars before they go out and do the next leg of stages. I'd also like to thank, besides Seven Films Racing and Seven Films and LLJ Racing, would like to thank Armin Levy Motorsport, Ines and Nishad Marutka for Potenza Properties, as well as Merway Car Hire that came to the aid to sponsor this event.
at the end of stage 3 of the Seven Forms Klipdale Rally organised by CCMCC. We have Mike Nathan leading in the Mitsa Evo 9. Hot on his heels is Laurens van Rensburg in the Ford Fiesta R2. He seems to be going very well. Conditions are very tricky and wet out there, muddy. He had a very good stage 2, 1 second slower than Mike. In third position we've got Sean Jones, and he broke shock absorbers, but it seems he's still going. Retirements thus far are Keenan Sassman, Paul van Wyk and Charles Stradum. Keenan's going again. I think it's Super Rally. He broke a drive shaft in stage 1. So just a recap, Mike Nathan leading Laurens, Sean Jones, Trevor Hodges and Darren van Grienen.
And here we have Rudy Koetsen. The gentleman has kindly done this production for us. Once again we have Mike Nathan and Derek Jacobs on the return run coming through the farmyard. You can see what the conditions look like now after having run through here quite a few times. Very, very slippery, very, very challenging. Young Keenan Sassman once again, after rejoining on the Super Rally, put in some practice here in these wet conditions. It's not every day, even although the Western Cape is known for its rain in winter. It's not every day or not every event that we actually drive in these conditions. We've had very dry rallies even through winter. I think a lot of the competitors were actually dreading going out on these roads, but once they got into the stages, it was a different ball game altogether, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. Laurens van Rensburg and Jason Plumley going through the longest stage of the rally. I wonder who gets to brush the teeth on the front of that car every day. Coming through the farmyard for the last time. Very neat, very impressive. A lot of people took the farmyard home with them, with all the mud. The road's starting to get rutted now after quite a few passes by the rally cars. But it all adds to the excitement and the spectacle. Carlos Franken, after having found the correct spare wheel, and rejoined the rally under Super Rally to get in some practice all ahead of the Cape Town National, which is to take place in 2 weeks' time. Pit Buckers and Craig Gray in the Accident Guru Golf. As mentioned earlier, the sister car broke down 100 meters into the stage, reversing the roles from the previous event, where this car also only made it 100 meters into the first stage due to a steering rack failure. Darren van Grienen and his cousin in the ex-Google Zulu motor car. The farmyard slowly becoming the Klipdale mud bar. Paul Emmanuel and Robin Benjamin driving consistently once again. finishing quite high up the order on this event and also winning their class. Consistency does pay off. Third overall, as mentioned earlier, Trevor Hodges and Clint Verrett. Putting in a sterling but consistent drive. The newcomers, Julian Calvert and Anthony Connolly, also consistent drive. This car is one of the only cars that has finished every event this season, and that should put them quite high up in the championship stakes. We have the newcomers, Fakhri and Tariq, the ex-drag boys. Still a lot of work to be done to that car, but nevertheless they're having quite a bit of fun. Quite a bit of mud around there. Here we have the end. Clock of the course, Kes Naidu. Handing trophies to third overall Trevor Hodges and Clint Verrett. Pity the sun came out right at the end. In second overall, sponsors Laurens van Rensburg, Jason Plumley. And then winners of the event, Mike Nathan and Derek Jacobs. The next rally will be on the 12th of October at Killarney, which is the All-Tar Rally. This rally is unique in that we have rally cars competing against clubman's cars. There's always scores to be settled on that event. So come out to Killarney. Everything takes place in the confines of Killarney, on and off the circuit.
A problem with oil pressure from the start this morning, and what happened was we decided to do a do-or-die attempt where we were going to drive it and hope for the best and see if we could get to the end. So we limped for most of the day, and the oil pressure was on 1 bar for the whole day. We had a couple of clean stages and whatever up until the last one, where we had a car in the stage where we had to sit behind, and a bull and a couple of other complications, but otherwise a very good event. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with Lawrence's performance. I mean, like, he's come on nicely, and I'm really chuffed for his part also being the sponsor of the event. I think that it's a great achievement for them. And Trevor Hodges, the old fox, has been around many years ago. He's now back on the podium. It's nice to see the guys are back. But yeah, a lot of guys opted not to come out this far because of the cold weather. But I think for the next event we're going to have a bit of a problem with these guys. They're all going too quick. We're going to have to be pedal now.